The ultimate question of 2023 is your artwork really yours? If you've been publishing books on Amazon, you'll want to learn and stick around to learn the surprising truth about copyright and AI generated art. You guys know that I recently hired an attorney to do some copyright work for me, and having conversations with him really opened this door to make me remember the importance of protecting your work. It's really cool to be able to do a coloring book, but imagine it taking off and making you $5,000 a month and you cannot protect it because you used AI. In this video, we're just breaking down the 3 reasons why AI generated art is not protected by copyright laws. And at the end of the video, I'm going to share the 4 ways to actually use AI to be able to protect your work through the law. So it's really important to remember that this law has been around forever. And so there are specific guidelines. I'm not an attorney. This video is for educational purposes, but I'm sharing it with you here just so you can gain clarity and you don't make any mistakes. I have since unpublished my AI coloring books because I want to make sure that I follow these prompts at the end of this video to make sure I do it correctly. So let's dive into it. Number 1 is lack of originality. You may have seen a lot of prompts on Midjourney or other YouTube videos where people are saying, draw this in Claude Monet or do this in Pablo Picasso. Like when you just rip off another artist, it's really hard to call it your original work. And that's why copyright laws exist. They want the original work of authorship. They want to be able to say, hey, I made this. And with the algorithm, it's so complex that it's able to mimic things. And it honestly lacks the human touch. And so at the end of this video, we're going to talk about what the human touch is, because it is possible, but you do have to have human creativity and human touch to move forward with copyright. The second thing, or reason number 2, is no legal standing. And you might be thinking, what exactly does that even mean? The best way to describe it is that you want to be able to own your work, right? Anything you bring a pencil to a paper, you want to be able to say, I did this myself. And you're not able to say that with AI, with artificial intelligence, and with different types of prompts. So you need to understand that you want to own your stuff, especially if you want to make money from it. You cannot sue for copyright infringement. And if someone else copies you, you can't license it or transfer the ownership. And as you guys have learned from me, that I'm in the middle of a process of trademark and the process of copyright. And that's to have ownership, because I want these things to do well forever. I want to make passive income from them forever. So having the legality behind it, the legal side, is really important. Reason number 3 is, as we mentioned, there's no human authorship, right? We are putting all this info into a computer, and copyright laws, they require human beings to apply for this, right? And you have to be the author of the work in order to qualify for it. And that's the tricky part, is that AI lacks the capacity to say, like, this is human touch. So you cannot actually create work that is eligible for it because it's hard to show that. But let's now dive into the 4 ways that you can leverage AI to be able to get closer to that copyright ownership and kind of review. There's a lot of different cases that are being reviewed where someone was actually able to copyright their artificial intelligence generated comic book, and then the government, the US Patent Office, came back and said, never mind, you can't. There wasn't enough human touch in it. So let's dive into those 4 things. So 4 ways to use artificial intelligence for your artwork, AI, would be to provide those specific guidelines or criteria. That means you already have the idea in your mind and you're already been working that out, right? And so that is, you're generating the artwork and you're giving it very specific guidelines. You guys have probably done this with coloring books by saying coloring book lines. You're telling them a theme or a mood. You're going into a lot of detail, just as if they were the actual artists painting for you, right? This ensures that you are in control of the AI and you're creating it through a tailored custom experience, right? You're asking it to bring out your human vision, right? What is your intention for this? So this is something great for you to do on a piece of paper yourself and write down, like, hey, I want to create this book and I want to do a fiction fantasy series and I want to use AI for the cover. Let's sit down and talk about what mood, what theme. Let's do a mood board. Let's do a vision board. Let's do all the things so we actually have the data and the material to back up that AI assisted us and not did all the work for us, right? Like here we are Scottie Pippen, right? And we're asking Michael Jordan, like, hey, let's work as a team together and knock it out of the park. We can't be, well, I'm not going to name basketball players that I think hog the ball. Okay, number 2, we're going to incorporate human feedback. And this one's really fun because this is where artificial intelligence gets really exciting, because you can tell AI, like, hey, that's not the mood I was going for. Hey, I need this a little bit more. And if you ever do AI in mid journey, you can actually pick options A, B, C, or D. It will generate 4 things for you. And then you can curate it further and further and further. Okay. So the AI will, in most cases, generate a series. And then you work with your human feedback of your vision from your product outline to get it to be creative enough and original enough that you're like, I've never seen anything like that before. This is so cool. Number 3 is one of my favorites, because you guys know I have a background in art, is collaborating with human artists. And AI can be used for this, and you're letting the AI generate initial sketches, and then you can take those sketches to an artist. You can upload it on Fiverr and have them put in their own creative input and skill. And as long as you purchase the commercial release from them, you have that ownership. And that collaborative is a really beautiful fusion, because you're bringing 2 things together that didn't exist before. And you guys know fusion is one of my favorite things. That's like, you find a keyword on KDP, and then you put your own spin on it, and that fusion is there. Okay. So that helps you for the eligibility of copyright protection. But just because you apply for copyright doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be granted. Everything's application, and you even have to pay for an application, even if it gets rejected. So these are ways that when you talk to an attorney, if you need an attorney, let me know, but they will say, like, how much of this is you and how much of this is a computer. The 4th way is allowing for random or unpredictable outcomes. That's part of being creative too. Like, one of the best phrases in my college courses was happy accident. Like, how did this actually come about? And AI can be programmed to be random and unpredictable, but your vision is always going to be more powerful than that. And being able to just think about this 4th step of, like, is this, can someone else come in and type this in and get the same results? That's what we want to avoid, right? We want to be able to be creative enough and make it organic enough that it's actually like a creative process. And I think that's what we're seeing online with a lot of people that are posting children's books. They're using AI for children's books. And if you're following these 4 steps, I think you're going to be fine. But it's always important to consult legally to make sure that you are doing the things that you need to do to be protected. And while these 4 steps are not a promise to be, accepted in your application, the key here is don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself when you have a vision, and use all the tools around you as an assistant and not like the main person of the show, right? We want to find ways to incorporate your vision, your theme, the mood you're going to go for, and then make sure your intent stays there as you're using all the different software, AI generated artwork software, to do so. Last night, I found a website that does AI generated headshots. And as you guys know, I was a wedding photographer for 12 years. And I was so intrigued by this. It was $37. You upload 10 photos of yourself, and they need 48 hours to generate headshots for you. So I was like, well, I'll just test this out, share it on my YouTube channel. This will be really interesting to see the way, who's going to own those photos of me. If they're selfies, I own them. But if the AI incorporates my human element with my intention, it's just a new world. And I really don't think we should be scared of it. We need to figure out ways to leverage it in order to be original. And I think that's the beautiful thing, is that we're going to advance more and we want to be successful. So use these 4 steps of allow for the randomness, right? Make sure that you're collaborating with humans at some point, that you're giving it human feedback. You're not just taking exactly what it spits out. And that most importantly, you have a vision and a goal in mind. And I think that is the most powerful thing that makes us human, is having these ideas. Like, AI needs to be prompted to be successful, but you don't. There is inspiration all around you for you to like cleave to. So if you're struggling and maybe you haven't done that children's book because you don't feel like you're a great artist, go through these 4 ways and work it out in Mid Journey. Inside it, they have a Discord chat for Mid Journey, and it's such a cool process. If you want more videos like this, definitely subscribe, hit the like, and I'll see you in the next video. Love you guys. Peace out.